This is probably what I should call a navigating your month clip. I don't usually make a clip on a Saturday, but I was preparing for my clips for next week, and I realized that July is unique in terms of how the numbers pitch up. So first of all, July is the 7th month of the year, and so it is a 7. And 7 means victory or perfect life power. And in certain schools of numerology, 7 is considered to be a sacred number. They say it's the number that's associated with the consciousness of Christ. My understanding is that it's the unconditional love energy. It's also a number that is associated with a deep connection to spirit. And because of that deep connection, apparently, according to the psychics, the veil between the seen and the unseen world is very thin when we have this number 7 that's prominent. And so in July, if we assume that all of that is true, we have the ability to truly connect to who we really are, the essence of ourselves. And we are able to lift that veil. My perception of that is the veil of illusion. We can take the blinkers off. We can remove the blinkers that are keeping our vision narrowed. We can actually expand our vision, and we can change our perception of what is real and what isn't. Or we can find out what's really true for us. And we do that by connecting to who we really are. Now, 7 is the number that's associated with the archetype of the hermit. So in tarot, the hermit, the tarot card, it's a picture of an old sort of man carrying a lantern. And apparently, and I don't know much about tarot, right? But apparently it is an illuminator. So the hermit goes into seclusion, connects to who he really is, so that he can illuminate the path not only for him or herself, he or she can illuminate the path not only for him or herself, but also for everyone else. The picture on the tarot card is a man. That's why I'm saying he, okay? So that's quite special. Well, all the numbers are special, okay? So 6 was all about trying to bring harmony and balance and showing us where we need to be more discriminating so that we could bring more of a sense of harmony and balance into our lives. And beauty, about being able to appreciate the beauty inside us as well as the beauty around us. So 7 is more about introverting. It's about getting in touch with yourself. It's about connecting to the essence of who you really are. And it's about, when you do that, then you connect to that part of you that's limitless. And then you realize that all this man-made anxiety is it's just in a delusion. So I had this realization, I don't know, meltdown on Tuesday last week, whenever it was, because I was really anxious about an event. Now this event is in the future, right? And so I realized that actually this thing that I really wanted to turn out a certain way, first of all, it's not in my life, in reality. And because it's not in my life, if it appears the way I want it to, or if it doesn't, I've lost nothing. So I'm making myself sick with anxiety for no reason. It's an illusion, because that thing, it hasn't happened yet. It's something that I want to happen. It's a goal that I've set that I would like to arrive. And I have a picture in my mind of how I want it to be. And that picture for me is so real that I'm now freaking out about the fact that it doesn't seem as if that's going to happen. And then I realized, well, Loretta, what's the worst that could happen? Your life's just going to be the same. It's going to be the same as it was. It's not going to be any less. You're not going to be any less. You're not going to be any different to the Loretta that shows up today if that doesn't actually manifest. And once I had that realization, the anxiety abated. So July gives us an opportunity to lift the veil that we filter our reality through. Now, another really interesting thing is that because July is a 7 and 2018 is a 2, when you add them together, they're a 9, okay? And the way in which the calculation works, I want to hold this up to the camera. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, no, it's the wrong way around, right? Oh, bugger. I can't write it backwards. So here's how it works. If it's the 2nd of July, let's just say, because that's going to be Monday. If it's the 2nd of July, the life map goes 2, you don't have to understand this. Just bear with me. It goes 2, 7, 2, 2. So the day number 2 And the greatest strengths, or the hero number, is also going to be a 2. Now, on the 3rd of July, the same thing happens. The day number is a 3. The hero, greatest strength number, the number that actually helps us the most, the biggest helper, is a 3. On the 4th, it's 4 and 4. On the 5th, it's 5 and 5. How weird is that? Okay, and of course, when we get into the higher numbers, when we get like on the 14th, it will still be 5 and 5. The other interesting thing is that the numbers at the bottom of the life map also, they end up being repeated. I'm not going to explain that because it's too complicated, but they also end up being repeated. So this, I've never seen this, and I've been doing these clips for probably a year or more now, and it's because 2018 is a 2-year, and because July is the 7th month, and when we add the 7 and the 2 together, we get a 9, and that 9 actually acts as a 0 in the calculation, which means that the day number and the greatest strength number is always the same. So what does that mean in terms of your life? Well, what it means is that it's the time for you to truly connect to the potential of the day more than ever, because you are being given not just the energy of that day. So if it's the 2nd, it'll be the energy of wisdom, being able to appreciate duality. The greatest strengths, the helper number, is going to reinforce that for you, which means that our ability to deal with the villain or the sabotager is going to be stronger than ever in July. Now, interestingly, again, I'm not an astrologer, but I'm very interested in astrology. This is the beginning of the eclipse season. So the first eclipse, I think it's a solar eclipse. It's definitely a solar eclipse. I think it's on the 11th of July, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the next one is a lunar eclipse, which is on the 27th of July. So that is also when the energy is magnified. So a solar eclipse is about bringing into being something new. It's radiant, okay? It's shining its own light. It's like that hermit that's bringing the illumination. So eclipses are apparently really good times to connect with what you want to create, what you want to bring out into the world. It's that masculine energy. It's the yang energy, right? The light, the radiance, the doing, the out it goes, right? So that's where you set the goals on what you want to manifest. A lunar eclipse, like the moon, it's reflective. It doesn't have its own light. It's reflecting the light of the sun. And it's introverted, and it's emotional, and it's less about doing and more about being. And in order to allow your manifestation, that thing that you've set the goal on in the solar eclipse, in order to allow it to actually come to fruition, you have to make space for it. And making space for it means very often letting something go. And that's what lunar eclipses are about. So this is a powerful month energetically. It's a powerful month. It's showing up in the astrology. It's showing up in the numbers of the life map. And it's also that pivotal month where we move into the second half of the year. So in a way, that's also almost a new kind of beginning month. And just one thing about those eclipses, apparently these eclipses go in cycles. So if you remember, we had the beginning of the eclipse season for this year was in January and February. And so whatever intention you set at that solar eclipse, it's time for you to actually either reset it, revisit it, change it if you want to, decide that it's not for you, or magnify it. So those goals and those ideals that we had for how we wanted to be and show up in the world and what we wanted to manifest, this is our chance in July to actually activate that further or change it into what we would prefer. So yeah, July looks like it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be peaceful, but maybe, I always think that forewarned is forearmed. And so if we know that this is coming, and if we work with these energies, then we can sometimes, maybe not feel that it's quite as much of a shitstorm as what it could have been, basically. I hope you have an amazing July, and I'll speak to you guys next week when I start doing the daily clips.